Well, hi neighbors. So we were supposed to do this at my studio today, but the virus has us all inside, so I thought it'd be a fun project to do inside. Thank you for the idea for doing a little video. I normally would not have done that, but we'll see how it goes. So everybody in their package got a compote, which is just what we use to describe this little bowl. And on top of the compote is something that's called a Holly Chapel pillow. Holly is a friend and someone big in my industry, and she came up with this idea of creating a armature that will hold your flowers in. It's great because you can reuse it, and your flowers are in water and not that awful flower foam. So I've taped them in. You don't have to tape it in next time, but you can reuse it over and over again. In addition, you've gotten a really pretty bouquet of flowers from Ballard Canyon Farm. This is a local farm here in the valley, and they sell their flowers at the farmers markets Wednesday in Solvang and Sunday in Goleta. You can also find their flowers at New Frontiers markets. One of the upsides of this virus is New Frontiers has ordered a lot more bouquets for their grocery store. So when you get groceries, you can pick up a really pretty bouquet. Any grocery store bouquet will work with this. Don't feel like you need to just get the fancy farmer market ones, but you could use anything. Because her bouquets didn't have a lot of greenery in them this time, we got more flowers. I actually went and found a really pretty bush that had nice foliage that was pretty hardy, and I don't know what it is, but I do know it's not poisonous. Always be careful if you cut greenery from nature or from your neighbors that you know what it is and that it's not poisonous. I also found some really, really beautiful honeysuckle that was growing behind the Albertsons. So you can find a lot of fun things just out there if you look. So what we're going to do today is make a compote arrangement. Our goal is to make something that has an S shape, so it comes down and it kind of undulates. It's much more interesting to look at. It's a little more forgiving if you're not super practiced, and it's kind of fun and pretty, and it's what everybody seems to want right now. So what I would do is unbind your bouquet, lots of extra flowers. And the first thing you want to do is to figure out a line. I'd probably start with this pretty blossoming branch. I think it's peach. And since we want a higher point coming down into kind of a lower point, we'll want to start, and you want to look and see which direction your branch is going to see what might make the best shape. Now this branch, to me, don't be afraid. This one's got a funky little bit that I think would be big enough and pretty enough to use somewhere else. So I'm going to take it off for now. And we're going to start with just that. I have my handy pruners. Scissors work, a knife, but if you have just a pair of pruners, that's the best thing. And just take off the stem, cut it at an angle, and with the pillow, you want to put it down through both layers of the pillow so it catches on the bottom, and that'll hold it in place. And don't be afraid to cut off the bits that don't work. Pretty good life advice too. And then what I'm going to do with this is continue our line on this side as well. So we're starting to get that shape going. Next bit, we don't have a great variety of things to work with, but that's okay. It doesn't really matter. Here's another pretty branch that was in my bundle. So I'm probably going to use it to fill in this little space here. I could also use it to pull it longer on this side, but I think I like it there. Oop, don't worry if things fall. By the time you get it full, everybody will hold each other up. Actually, she included these rock roses, which are really pretty foliage, but it's a little heavy. So I'm gonna wait on that. I'm not sure what's in these either. They're all a little bit different. They all have some anemones, which are these pretty little flowers that will open up with a dark center. And then lots of ranunculus, because ranunculus are what is in season right now, and that's this flower. And so this flower, people really love to use it because it's got such a beautiful, graceful line to it. Lots of petals, so anybody who loves peonies loves ranunculus. And yeah, they're just really pretty. The ones from the farm will last a really long time. I've been having these last 1 or 2 weeks in my shop, but when it gets hotter, of course, they don't like that as well. But let's see. The trick is, there's always a trick. I think I'm actually gonna go with greenery next. So a little bit of our funky greens. You just wanna take the leaves off on the bottom so that you don't get any leaves in the water. And it's really hard to design without any greenery, which is why I went ahead and found some for you guys. So I'm gonna poke just a little to kind of fill in the shape on the bottom. Again, this is starting to look a little heavy. I'll keep trimming off little bits and pieces. As long as their stems are in water, it doesn't really matter. So the next thing I'm thinking I wanna do is take a few of these that are more open. Color-wise, you might wanna think about if you want it all over color. Maybe you want to try an ombre where it goes from light to dark. I'm kind of an all over color person, so that's what I'm going to do. But I do want a few things to be kind of lower in the center. Be very careful not to cut things too short. You can always cut them shorter, you cannot make them longer. So definitely go ahead and cut them a little bit longer than you think you want them. The next thing to do is, I love like these little wispy dancing buds, and so I'll probably use them much like we use the branches to add some pretty lines and movement. That will help make a pretty arrangement and fill it in. A little all over the place, but I'm gonna add a little more greenery here. So I'm making this backwards, I can't really see what I'm doing. So again, another white one that's fairly well opened. I'm gonna actually cut them and use them down to fill in my center. And then I'm gonna save some of these little pieces just to fluff it out at the end, because we're gonna work with what we have. Anemones, again, a little heavier, a little sturdier, not quite as dancey as the other ones, and it will open, it'll be bigger, but we're gonna put that right in front. Just like that. Oops. Just like that. I might decide to cut it shorter, but again, it's easier just to leave it long for now. And I think I had at least a couple more. Yes, I have a couple more of the anemones. These are gonna open with dark centers, I think. Yes, dark centers. Sometimes they have light colored centers. And again, this is a really nice curve, so I'm gonna go ahead and use it to start to fill in the shape. Yep, it's never, there we go. Sometimes it just takes a little patience, a little meditation. It's actually quite a soothing thing. I know I talked to some friends who said, you know, thank goodness I've got my hands on some flowers today because I really needed it. I think that's true too. You can always adjust it later. Anyways, and then again, we're just gonna start filling in the center. The best is to work from a central point so it feels like it's all kind of coming out from the same point. If you just were here and here and here, it would start to feel very disjointed, but this way it feels like it's growing from a common point, which would be how they would grow in nature. And I'll keep going. This guy's a little heavy and clunky, so I'm probably gonna cut him a little shorter, and that's okay too. One thing you wanna do too is make sure that you add some water on the regular because they will drink quite a bit being fresh. And then we're just gonna keep working our angles. This guy just does not want to stay. Okay, so here's where the greenery comes in handy. I'm gonna give him a little bit of support by adding something for it to lean on. There we go. Oh, hello, Ella. Ella's gonna come help me. When I used to work at home all the time, she used to love to roll around in my flowers. She's probably gonna end up doing that again right now, I see. Hi, Ella. Again, just keep saving some of these little bits. They might come in handy. You might throw them away, but that's okay too. Better to hang on to them until you know you don't need them. Ella, get off the flowers, please. You guys probably have kids that are trying to help too. So, you know, same idea. Cats, kids, they're all bored and interested in what everybody else is doing right now. And then keep going. And then I'm gonna save a few of these little lighter pieces for the end. I'm trying to pick out some of the ones that are a little thicker and a little less well-shaped, for lack of a better word. Yeah, I'm gonna keep filling them in. And then maybe stop and add a little bit of this hardier greenery. Not totally sure how I feel about this, but I feel like we do need a little. I didn't want us to, you know, you don't want to see the pillow, really. It should mostly recede. Thanks, Ella. It should mostly recede, but if it doesn't, it's okay. Mostly I just want some support for all of these stems we're putting in. The more you put in, the easier it is. And it's easier if you don't have a cat standing on your stuff. Thanks, babe. All right, so you want to keep going. There's really no wrong answer. It's just a lot of practice. I've been doing this for about 30 years. So I've got a lot of practice. When I stopped and started again, it definitely took me a minute to get my mojo back. But hopefully, while we all have some time at home, we can practice. Just when you go for your groceries, pick up some flowers. You know, the $10 bouquet will work. You can always forage a little bit of greenery from the shopping center. No judgment on my part. You'll see a lot of us florists out there. And eventually you'll make a bouquet. So the only other element that we haven't considered is the honeysuckle, which I have a broken one. I gave you guys non-broken ones. But see how pretty that line is? It's just really lovely. It's one of my favorite things to work with. When I was at home, it grows on the slope behind my parents' house, and my stepmother wanted to know why I wanted all the weeds. I'm like, because they're really, really pretty weeds, and they will have pretty flowers on them later this year too. Usually around May. But look at how pretty and flowing and gorgeous, and that really is just all it takes. I'm glad I cut a bunch of greenery for you guys, because that'll make it easy. And then just keep filling it in. There is no wrong answer. Not being judged. Next week you can practice again. Just wash everything good with some disinfectant, not because of the virus, but because fungus and things grow on them, and that makes the flowers not last as long. And then I always like to throw in a few little weirdos that might be a little higher, might just stick up. I want everyone to be seen and not a big clump, but this way everybody can be their best selves and kind of enjoy a little light and a little freedom. I'm going to turn it around because I have no idea what it looks like. Oh, it's not too bad. But definitely needs a little more orange here and a little more fill in Let's see, I've got one anemone left. I'm gonna tuck him in. These guys will open and be really pretty, so, and they'll grow in length. That's the other reason. Don't get super hung up on like it's not perfect today, because you know what? Flowers are gonna change and grow, and then tomorrow it'll look really different. And you can either adjust it or you can enjoy how different it is. It really doesn't matter. We're just doing this for ourselves and for our own hearts. I got one more flower. I'm gonna put him here so that my garden is looking pretty complete. Let's see, I've got a little bit of, this is the broken one I got, so I'm gonna go ahead and cut that down into a weird little bit, but it'll kind of tuck in and hide the last of my pillow. You can buy these pillows online at a company called 46 and Spruce. They are the retail arm of the wholesaler that I use. It's 46 and Spruce, and they sell all sorts of fun little flower things, including Holly's pillows. And there we go. I'm just gonna, I use all the bits. We're gonna use all the bits just to fill in here and there where we're missing. Let's see, what have I got? What have I got? Okay, now we're back to these little bits, which again, you can use to give yourself a little extra fullness, a little extra line, a little extra movement. Movement's very big in the flower world these days. Everybody talks about it, but it does create really beautiful compositions. And that's it. I think I'm out of all of my materials. Hopefully you are too. Oh wait, there's a little one that's got some color. Never waste anything. Not if you can help it. But that's it. That's our centerpiece. You can do this with any flowers, with any bouquets. The concepts are the same. It's, you know, a little pretty base of greens just to support your stems. Think about if they have line or if they're fuller, maybe if it's a lily or something that would normally come in a grocery store bouquet, you can put those down in low as a focal point. Anytime you see beautiful branches, they're just super fun. Again, grocery store, you can find it. It's just drive around the back of the grocery store and they've got tons of it. And then if you're lucky, your grower brings you a few extra blooms. And so Molly brought me these. This particular one I just want to show you guys because it's really, really pretty. It is a Clooney ranunculus, and they're obviously a lot bigger and normally a lot more expensive, but right now they're in the bouquets and just really pretty. So with the magic of television, I have cleaned up my mess and I wanted to add a few more things. One is, which I should have mentioned at the beginning, is you should always put water in your vase. I filled this one about 3/4 full because I'm not transporting it anywhere. It's just gonna go to my kitchen table. So we definitely had some water to start with. I will check this every day. They drink way more than you think. If you have any questions, email, text, I'm happy to help. And thank you. I'm sorry we didn't get to do this in person, but hopefully you have some fun at home and maybe have the kids help. But not with the sharp stuff. The other thing is, this is Louie. Louie is very helpful. I'm Tracey Morris, and my business is Ella and Louie, named after my favorite cats, Ella and Louie. They are really great at being a good mascot for my business. Started in Santa Barbara in 2012 on my own. I'd been doing flowers before that for other people. And I just started in my house, in my garage, with whatever I had handy, which was a lot of great friends and a lot of contacts and a lot of hard work. So I now have a shop in Buellton, California, just across the highway from my home. And normally we are open there Tuesday through Friday and have lots of pretty flowers, tons of plants for the house, and lots of pots to put them in. So hopefully when all this craziness is over, y'all will come visit and say hello and we'll spend some quality time together.